Hey, my fifth grade friends. So today I'm going to teach you how to play a multiplying fractions game. So you're going to need some dice. You could use regular dice or the ones that I've given you. You'll need at least 3, 4, depending on the type of game that you play. Whiteboard, eraser, marker, or the game board that I gave you. And then you might need a calculator today too. It'll help kind of speed your game up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see my board and me rolling so it's a little bit easier. So here we go. So there's 2 different versions of this game that you can play. You can either do a whole number times a fraction, fraction times a whole number, so what we did on Monday, or you can do fractions times fractions. You decide what you want to do. Maybe you want to do a couple rounds of a whole number, a couple rounds with a fraction. So let me show you both here. So if you do a whole number times a fraction, what you're going to do is you need 3 dice, and you'll play this against a partner. So you'll keep score probably out in your corner here. So let's say you're playing against like your dad, and there's me. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll your dice. One of them is going to be your whole number, which you couldn't even see me roll. And then the other 2, you'll turn into a fraction. Try to keep your fractions regular fractions instead of improper ones. You want them to look as normal as possible. So if I roll, let's say I am doing 6 times 3/5. I'm going to give my partner the dice. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to roll. They're going to get their fraction, and they're also going to solve. Now, you might have to reteach your mom, dad, brother, sister, whomever that you play with how to multiply fractions. So you might have to reteach them that. So if you're doing a whole number, remember, plop it over 1, and then you're going to multiply. So 6 times 3 is 18. 5 times 1 is 5. And then you can't leave it improper. So I guess ask myself, how many times does 5 go into 18? Well, that's 3 times. And then subtract 15. So I'm left with 3 3/5. Okay. My partner's going to do the same thing. 6 times 1 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. And 6 divided by 3, or 3 goes into 6 2 times. So in this case, we can clearly see mine is bigger because I have 3 3/5. My partner only has 2. So that means I get a point. Ding. So again, you might have to reteach your parents how to do this. So you can keep playing. I play at least 10 rounds, or you can play fractions by fractions. Uh-oh, that eraser has some dust in it. I might sneeze. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's a very dusty eraser. All right, so here we go. I'm going to roll my dice, and same thing. I'm going to make a fraction times a fraction this time. So let's do 4/9 times 6/10. So 4/9 times 6/10. This one is mine. My partner's going to do the same thing. They're going to take their dice while I'm calculating mine. So they've got, 3/5. I got rid of the 3. 3/5 times 6/10. So they have 3/5 times 6/10. Okay. So again, you could play this version as well, where you got 2 fractions instead of a whole number. Either way, you're still going to multiply. So I've got 6 times 4 is 24 over 90. Both of these can be divided by 2 because they're both even. So 12/45. Can this be simplified? Probably. What's 45 divided by 3? 15. So both can be divided by 3. So 4/15. So that's as low as I can go, is 4/15. So there's mine. My partner does the same thing. 6 times 3 is 18. 5 times 10 is 50. Both can be divided by 2. So that's 9, 50, 25. Can those be simplified? No. So here's the thing. It's really hard to tell when our denominators get so big which one is bigger and which one is smaller. So this is where your calculator could come in handy. If you want to find a common denominator between those two, great. It's going to take you a little while though. Because remember, this guy right here, that line in a fraction means to divide. So in my calculator, I would type in 4 divided by 15. Okay, and that is equal to a decimal, 0.26, and the 6 goes on and on and on forever. I'm going to do the same thing with my partners. Maybe they're going to use their calculator and do 9 divided by 25, because remember, that's a division symbol. And they get 0.36, or we say 36 hundredths. So which of these fractions is bigger? Yeah, my partner's this time, because 0 and 36 hundredths is bigger than 0 and 26 hundredths. So that's where your calculator might come in handy today. So I'm going to give my partner, ding, a point. Okay. So if you're doing fractions time a fraction, you're probably going to need a calculator to figure out whose is bigger and whose is smaller. If you do a whole number times a fraction, you probably won't necessarily need the calculator, but it is possible as well. Okay. All right. So have fun today multiplying fractions. Again, you might have to teach someone at home how to multiply fractions again, which they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I forgot how to do this. This is so easy. Because you guys are going to do a great job teaching them. So have fun today. Play at least 10 rounds. So 10, you might do 5 with a whole number, 5 with fractions and fractions. You decide. It's your game. So have some fun today, and you're practicing multiplying fractions at the same time. But either way, have fun.